Welcome, and hello to the first episode of the Totally Professional podcast, right on time or not, depends on your clock. I'm here with Josh, Jamie, and Andy. My name, of course, is Kevin, and I'll let my hosts take it away with the topics.
Oh yes, we have a good one for the first topic. We are going straight into vegans. Start off by saying, I don't hate vegans, I just hate most of them.
I share that opinion actually. I've met vegans who are quite reasonable, and then I've met the absolute extreme opposite of that.
Ones that just want to shove whatever they think down your throat, even if it's wrong.
Yeah, but wrong think doesn't exist for vegans. They only have their ideology, kind of.
They don't do something wrong, so they must be good people.
See what I don't understand with vegans, right? Because you've got this whole, save the animals, right? Save the animals, save the pandas.
The pandas.
No,
Do we eat pandas?
Maybe no, we don't eat pandas. You get the gist of it, right? Save the cows. Actually, we're doing the world good, because I'm sure a very high percentage of the world's pollution comes from cows. So if we kill them, eat them, then it's less pollution. And,
Exactly.
And, right, think of it this way. Vegans do not do the world any good, because they eat all the vegetables, and that's the food for the animals that they care for. I've just sold veganism.
Solved veganism. Yeah,
Where's my round of applause?
Yeah, one of the things is like, don't want to become vegan because of what vegans are like.
Yeah, there's a certain thing that there's a certain, let's say, a certain thing that you get attached to yourself as soon as you say, "Oh, I'm vegan." It's like, "Oh, you're gonna be fucking toxic" as soon as I say anything that has to do with eating meat or getting animal products. Like it's of course there is the argument with the saving the planet, even though cows produce a fuck ton of gases that they're kind of harmful a little bit.
There's not enough people in the world that would make a difference. Like, animals are still getting slaughtered, so we may as well eat them. Let's be honest.
May I?
It's like it's you have animals that reproduce naturally or reproduce in controlled environments like the food industry, and you have a natural flow of things, and then vegans are like, no, save the animals, have them fucking like some animals, if you wouldn't go get them to actually slaughter them to get their meat products, they would fucking overpopulate. You would have to kill them anyways, and then just do what? Like leave them to rot, bury them in caskets,
just let
burn
them take over
them.
the world.
Let the animals take over the world and have humans be the lesser race. Just everything controlled by animals. Everything.
Yes,
yeah, they can take over.
There's a very specialised case of an extreme stereotype for vegans, which I would like to bring your attention to. There's this person called who calls himself Sexy Vegan.
Legally
Called Sexy Vegan. Now, this individual, right, he's a bit dodgy, isn't he? He went on Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil pretty much just tore him to shreds for being obnoxious, loud, non-reasoning, actually. His view mattered the most. No other views mattered. Now, that is the stereotype which stagnates the rest of veganism. I know a few vegans. There are a couple of okay, quiety ones. But then you get the loud, obnoxious, "Hello, my name is Stephen, and I'm a vegan." Yes, thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen. And now please leave the classroom. We are trying to have a normal English lesson. You aren't even attending the school. You're a 43-year-old man. Please leave. It's like there's some kind of as has been said before, superiority complex with these people that are just like, if someone would cry out for a doctor, the first three people are like, I'm vegan.
I'm doctor, but I'm vegan.
It's like yes, I acknowledge that it is absolutely not helping in this situation. It is utter bullshit, but let's just get a real person that actually knows what they're doing instead of someone that is like, oh, but I am a vegan. That the fucking thing is, some people that are vegans, that are these like really out there vegans, they fucking introduce themselves. They have that as a fucking as their title.
Yeah.
And
Name,
it's like
vegan.
yeah, it's name this, occupation that, title vegan, instead of having like a doctor or being something professional. Like oh yeah, I have a doctor in science. Nah, these people are vegans. They are learned professional vegans.
Yeah, I think there's
Yeah.
sort of like 3 different levels of vegans. There's ones which just do their own thing and are fine
Yeah,
with it.
they live the life of a
Yeah.
vegan. They have the lifestyle. Then you have the ones that are kind of the people
Middle.
that yeah, they are the middle ground, which they
Yeah.
tell you that they are vegan, but they don't want to fucking like push
Hold on.
you into veganism. And then you have the ones that hardcore spread
The
propaganda.
extremists.
They're like, if you
Yeah.
don't, if you eat meat, you must be fucking slaughtered and eaten for some reason.
Yeah, the ones
know
who
what I'm
go, the
chat?
ones who go and like protesting co-op, saying, "Oh, cows are being raped for their milk," you know.
Which is, I mean, absolutely true. If you can't hear my sarcasm, that is extremely true, and I feel offended that anyone would ever think I mean, that is absolute, complete and utter bullshit. Raped for their milk.
Yeah.
They're fucking animals. They're being bred to have more milk and better meat. They're then being killed. I mean, that's its own kind of cruelty, but it's kind of this. Everyone's okay with it because we eat meat, we drink the milk, we have all these products that are made from milk. For example, cheese. Some people like cheese, others don't, but a lot of people don't
Just
like.
like cheese.
Yeah,
I don't like cheese. What are you on about?
a lot of people
can you
don't
leave?
like they don't like eating their breakfast cereal with water. There are people that like that, and there are people that are like, oh, I would like to have milk to this because it's just it tastes better. And
I
then
like
there
milk.
and then there are people that there are these freaks that eat fucking cereal with orange juice or
What?
Coke even.
I've not heard that.
I've done that before by on accident. Would you like me to expand on it? I've done it before.
Yeah, please.
Also,
inform us.
welcome to Raggedy Dan, not a raid, and all the
Raid.
people who have come. So
Yeah,
thank you.
Welcome.
we seem to have started up a hashtag raping cows. It is actually a genuine video of YouTube where a man was protesting in co-op, talking about cows being raped for their milk.
I mean, the conditions are pretty bad, but
They are
raping
kept.
cat?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
No.
That's the level of extremeness that you can see.
And then you have all these people that want to obstruct. Like, I get that some people are really passionate about their beliefs, but you don't throw yourself in front of a semi-truck and then have the family sue the driver because you were vegan and you believed so hard in that you just had to stop that truck somehow, even though the truck just ran you over and just drove on after a fucking thing. They call another driver if the other one was arrested, and you basically did nothing. Congratulations, you halted it for
That's one vegan
an
gone.
hour. If you want to see it like that, yeah, but it's kind of these extreme cases that like have a that throw a bad light onto the group as a whole.
Oh yeah, tainting.
Because
they're tainting the whole group for
because there are like pluses in all of this. There is a plus to having a vegan lifestyle. Some people say that they live healthier, but there's also some people who are mostly vegan but still enjoy some meat on the side. They have just, it's differing amounts of vegans.
More personal option.
Yeah, and
so,
it shouldn't be turned into a fucking religion, then have your vegans crusade a whole fucking slaughtery or some shit. Like, excellent idea.
I saw something the other day. It was like veganism, it's good for animals, but it's not a cruelty-free diet. I change to all vegan options and like fruit and veg. There's still human suffering, but is that okay because the animals aren't? On to get them their food, but
what about all the bacteria on the fruit? I think that we're not looking at this properly. We're ignoring all the poor bacteria, right? So we've already thought about humans and the aminos. I'm thinking that we'll ignore insects because they're irrelevant. But I think we should focus more on bacteria, to be honest. Because if we're eating them, then that's not fair on them, is it? Because they have morally decided to go on that piece of fruit, and we did not get consent from them to do eating.
Yeah, you can't eat bacteria without consent.
Are we gonna start asking animals for consent? Excuse me, sir. May I eat your meat?
Anyway, right. Moving on. Let us know your thoughts on veganism.
I just see lots of hashtags.
Now we will move on to feminism, if that's okay with everybody here.
Yeah, I think it has been discussed.
So now here's my thing about feminism. It's not all bad. It's mostly good, right? So the problem with it is you're neo-feminists, like the loonies being loonies. Because, throwing acid on people on the train, but granted, some people say it's a prank, etc. But was it not? It's just the thought there that people were applauding that person is alarming. So I think we'll be able to discuss a fair bit on neo-feminism and just it's not really feminism, it's just terrorism, really.
Yeah, immediately going back onto that, it apparently was fake. So the whole throwing, I think it was some sort of bleach or just water or something. Apparently some of it, yeah, that manspreading thing in Russia. Apparently it was on some people legitimate and others were just actors. And you could see that it was an act of heroism where the women that were just, or the woman in that case that was throwing that on, was standing close to an exit, ran away immediately after the people were reacting, and yeah, absolute heroism, very empowering. It then, I think an actor came out and said, yeah, it was all kind of a hoax. It didn't really do anything, but she got so much support for, like, yeah, there's this terrible manspreading that is going on, that is occurring right now.
It's comfy. I like manspreading. That's how I say it.
Yeah, it's how many people say.
It's not called manspreading unless it's like your legs are like fucking meters apart. It's called giving your boss some space.
You need to give your. Why are people offended by it? It's not as if you've got nothing on. It's not as if your dick's hanging out, is it? You know.
Yeah, the thing is with manspreading, it depends on, or well, manspreading in air quotes. It depends on how far you have your legs apart, because in some of these videos that prove that manspreading is a thing and it's not, like, that some of the people are like fucking sat with their legs so far apart that you could fit like 7 people in between them.
Must have big dick, big balls. Big dick,
I
big
think
balls.
that's a slight
can you do that?
exaggeration. What?
Should we try that?
Can do, yes. I mean, I don't think it'd be
7
very
people.
successful. But...
There's a thing that was I think it was a few years ago, or not. I could be wrong on that. Where BuzzFeed actually did like an experiment, which was not actually, which wasn't very successful. Where all these feminists tried manspreading for a week, and they were lying down on over 2 seats. They were lying down on a bench in a fucking subway train. They were like sitting, spreading their legs and pushing their knees into other people's legs.
Would you like to know what that proves?
Nothing.
The low intellect of the people we're dealing with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, look, let's just sit normally. Why do we sit like this? Oh, because I have balls and a cock flapping around. Obviously, not me, because I have a 1-inch warrior. And, well, like, they don't have that. They've got their own, like, different problems, females, like, that men don't have.
Yeah, I mean,
vice versa. And like, sitting about is not going to really
the best
prove
part,
that, or lying on a bench, or just it's lunacy.
The best part about that video was one part where they filmed the woman manspreading, and she was like legitimately spreading her legs as far as she could. And
what does that accomplish?
That was, I mean, I don't think it was very comfortable to sit like that, because
Exactly.
it's like okay, like why the fuck are you doing that? But then again, you have the fucking people in that shot. There's actually a woman in frame with 7 shopping bags or something like that. Maybe like 4 to 7 about there, just on the floor of that subway train and on seats next to her. And you can't imagine how fast they cut away from that clip. It was just like, oh shit, can't show woman spreading. Oh shit, no, can't do that. Women don't have like bags that they carry around where they have all their stuff in, because their fucking jeans are too tight to actually carry a phone.
We've seen all that stuff about Red Dead 2 with the feminist.
Oh yeah, wasn't there someone being banned or their channel deleted just because there was something with that feminist?
Yeah, I'm somewhat knowledgeable on this, although the termination of the channel has since been reversed. But what happened, right, was that they found a feminist in Red Dead. Can't remember what city it was, whatever, it doesn't matter. They found a feminist, tied them up, fed them to a crocodile, and then uploaded it to YouTube.
That's not funny. That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Well,
I mean,
because it's here it comes not of a left-wing agenda to do so. YouTube took a hissy fit and just would not even just taking down the video, no strikes, termination of the channel. Whether that means that it's being an angry feminist, that's just neo-feminist, that's just going, let's just delete this, or not. But granted, it is back now. So
yeah, that's just because of the backlash they got from it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do with what they think's right about the video, whatever. It's like
legitimately
publicity from it, and they just want to look better. Like, come on.
Legitimately, you could actually just go into any game, label one NPC a feminist, and do something bad with them, and you are caught in a shitstorm.
Yeah, you are basically
that is instantly that is instantly like you are just to be wiped from the surface of this planet by anyone who cares about women's rights. Like, of course, but don't fucking overstretch it. Like, oh, the video you killed pixels. That's fucking bad. That is terrible. It had the label femme attached to it, so it must be something that has to do with women. So that's bad. Stop it.
Do it to a guy,
Before
though,
we
that's
get
fine.
criticism, what we're trying to get at is that modern feminism, not all of it, very small percentage neo-feminism, is wrong because it's about superiority. And it's quickly
Yes.
becoming that. Whereas proper feminism, where I think you would agree that any level-minded person is a feminist. They want equality. I think any
Yeah.
level-minded person wants equality. So in a way, everyone's feminist because everyone wants equal rights.
Yeah, there is. I
But,
think there's an actual term for that, which is egalitarianism. I think, where you want everyone to have the same kinds of rights. Anyone has the same rights, no matter if it's differing genders, skin colors, whatever, religions. It's like you have the belief that everyone should be treated equally, no matter what.
And because of this superiority, we see silly things like man-sized tissues being a hissy fit over that over 60 years of the branding being called that. So man-sized tissues, don't know what they're called now, large tissues, possibly? Are they large tissues?
Extra
think there's
large,
a
I
lot.
believe.
Extra large
Yes,
tissues. Well,
yes.
Not much
the thing
about
about that
that
is,
being.
how far does that go? Does mother care get changed to parent care? No, because that's the wrong way around.
I
No.
do actually think there's probably going in like a few years, maybe even just months, there's probably going to be an issue with this XXL labeling from plus size people, from plus size neo-feminists who are gonna be like, oh, this caters to people that are like overly large. What the fuck is that? It's just like a bigger piece of soft paper. Can you not?
How
Did you just say
offensive.
only fat people can use this? Are you fat shaming?
Yeah, or people with extra large noses.
Oh,
Extra
Yeah.
extra large nasal deposits.
Extra large personalities.
extra
I'm
large
big-headed.
cocks.
That's offensive.
Anything that is XXL about someone is they're gonna be like offended about it, because it's like, oh my god, did you just call X part of whatever large or huge or just
I'm
that-
sure there
that's-
is one part of the body that would come to mind that this would not apply to for men.
Yeah.
I think we shouldn't dwell on that.
Yeah.
Isn't that the
I'm
exact
sure.
same? Isn't that the exact same thing that
Right, let's moving on. Okay,
I've still got an article here.
so
Yeah.
now we're on to
Space-
gaming. And I
Gaming.
believe Josh is going to talk to us about the success of Red
Yes.
Dead Redemption 2.
What a game! This it's a phenomenal game. I completed it last week, and I have to say it is one of the, best, story-driven game of like ever, because the depth in the game is beautiful. All the details beautiful. Everything about it is perfect to me, anyway. But some people don't like it. There's a lot of riding around, which
is probably
most people
because
like.
there's no PC port.
It'll come at it.
I hope.
It's an interesting one because I've not got the game personally, but I was watching a stream on it, right? And it's just amazing, really. Because I was looking in the stream, there was a it wasn't even a cutscene, it looked like a cutscene. What's happening is you talk to this man. He slices off meat, puts it on the table, dices it, and puts it in the bucket
Yeah.
in real time.
What?
You know how revolutionary that is? It's not in a cutscene, it's in real time.
Yeah.
So it's like you're just walking around free roam, and that's one of the ambient things that could happen. Hell, even the KKK, he's sit and watch that happens.
Andy,
well.
have you found the KKK yet?
Yes, I
found
have.
the
Yes.
KKK
Yep.
in Grand Theft Auto Online, clickbait. But what I'm trying to say is I think that it's a revolutionary game in terms of gameplay because, as far as I'm aware of, no other game has offered such
There are
intricacy, accuracy,
Depth
detail.
to all.
And
Yeah,
I believe that the
it's very deep.
storyline's quite compelling as well, but I can't really comment on such things.
if you've played any of the recent Tomb Raider games from the 2013 on, there aren't really pre-rendered cutscenes in that game. It's all real time.
What's this?
You have nothing that really happens in a pre-rendered scene except for, like, I think the intro, because of all the water effects, because that would have been too demanding of computers at that time. But right now you have so many it's not just Red Dead. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of those that brings it to the more mainstream audience.
I mean,
because of
there is,
consoles.
yeah, there is cutscenes, but they're so seamless. You basically walk up to someone,
Yeah, but they are,
and then it'll transition into a cinematic style screen with bars at the top and bottom.
yeah, but they are
And,
in,
I love
you
that.
know, it's
Opens
seamless.
and closes.
There's no loading or anything. It's just seamless.
yeah,
Like
because
GTA 5.
from what I know, it's in-engine cutscenes. So you basically just have the exact same game engine taken without actually recording it and then putting it in a game. It's all real time, which is impressive.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's how they do it. Yeah.
You just get, like, black bars and that's it. You have black bar at the top and at the bottom, and then you have just gameplay. It's not any like a video file that's been put in that's compressed to shit. It's just you have your gameplay that is live. They put in actors and fucking dialogue and subtitles, and they're just matched up perfectly. So you have this seamless transition between everything. A lot of games
GTA.
a lot of games do that, where they have a cutscene, and then they when the cutscene ends, you see your character, and they just take away, like, the bars. They just slide up and down respectively for top and bottom, and then that's
Yes,
it. You just
indeed, yeah.
play on from there. A lot of games have done that, but not many on consoles that I can say.
Well, Andy, you were telling me about Forza, weren't you? That, like, the transition into a different game is just instant. It's seamless.
Yeah, when you
Else.
yeah,
There's logic.
there's no load screen, but then there's other elements of the game where the loading is massively clunky. So they've attempted it, but they haven't got it right. Whereas Red Dead have.
What would you say you've gained from? Well, what would you say you've got from Red Dead? Because you've into the other parts of it. Like, what have you found, like, that you love about it?
Well, the main thing I like about it is the characters. There's such fantastic characters, just side characters who you might not even speak to if you don't go to a certain place. You know, there's like abandoned farmhouses and stuff where there's people in them that you wouldn't get taken to on a side mission or a main mission, but you know, if you go there, you can interact with them and there'll be a small story. You know, I find that really interesting.
Yeah, the random events are so good, aren't they?
Yeah.
When the guy just kicks the horse, just there's no need, but they put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the random encounters in Red Dead that I've seen so far are they don't really have this feeling of being just forced on you. They're just actually random. There is nothing that has to load for it. It's just in the game, and dude gets kicked in the face and horse runs away.
Yeah, I actually did that. I was playing and I saw that dude and I was like, oh no, he's gonna get kicked by his horse. The horse ran away, but he wanted me to get the horse for him. It was so beautiful. I saved his life after the first time.
and
Saved him up.
then it happened like 7 more times, and we were like, oh, it isn't random.
I thought it was special for it happening to me. Also, what do you think online's going to be like?
Well, yeah, I haven't really got any idea, but I expect it to be similar to GTA Online in regards to microtransactions and things like that,
It's a
which is a
Rockstar thing, innit?
concern, but I'll probably play it how I did with GTA and just sort of hang out in private sessions with friends and go hunting and stuff like that.
It'll be good fun, I think. It's just
If
Yeah.
that is even an option, if you aren't like forced to constantly have a session open, and you have to like screw around with your Xbox settings to have like a different MTU as they do in GTA Online, where you just, if you load into a game, nobody can join you, like no random person, but other people in your friends list can. It's kind of strange. I'm more like waiting on the PC release, which is probably gonna be 2 years from now, or not.
it's.
Otherwise, I
think
would
I've
probably.
seen rumors that it'll be released sooner.
Well,
I think I'm gonna get it on PC.
If it is going to be on PC, I hope they don't fall into that Nvidia thing, the ray tracing stuff. It would be cool, but playing that game at 1080p and having 21 FPS, no. That's not a good.
Should we take a look at chat for a bit?
Sure.
Here's what I think about online is what I'm worried about is the scope. How much stuff can you add before it gets, content-wise? Because GTA kept coming with new stuff, just lots of new stuff, quite consistently. Whether it be flying cars, you can do that because it's based on today. It's a modern day game, but with Red Dead, it's 200 years ago.
Yeah, I've got
100 odd.
I've got a feeling they might go down like the type of like business route where you can have like, like in GTA you can have your drug smuggling and the cars and stuff like that. Whereas in Red Dead you could perhaps have like moonshine businesses and tobacco smuggling and gun smuggling and
animal smuggling.
Yeah, and
or like
there's
full-scale plantations and stuff like that, where you can hire workers and steal product from other people. It's I wish they would have it like business, but
yeah,
I don't know how they can. I mean, Rockstar is quite witty with how they've been implementing stuff into GTA 5's online mode even. So they probably have like ways planned out to make it feel like it fits into the game.
Yeah, I think there'll be like business type things.
They'd announce, they acknowledged that it would be less grindy than GTA 5.
Hopefully.
Still could be really grindy, couldn't it?
Well, less grindy than GTA 5 is kind of World of Warcraft levels, so.
Yeah,
I
still
feel like
grindy.
if it's going to be less grindy than GTA Online, because there's that less scope for content. Because you can only do so much with horses compared to cars. Look, you can bring out tons and tons, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars, but horses. I'm sure you will see my concerns. I don't think it will be as grindy because they'll want to lower as much money you can make from as possible because there won't be as much things to buy in the DLCs. I don't see it lasting as long as GTA.
Said it will, but
it might not have quite the longevity that GTA's had.
Somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but it has been rumored that there will be cars. So that means it's set in like.
They'd
have to have a time shift for that to happen.
They did that in GTA, didn't they? If I remember correctly.
I'm not sure.
And set before everything in the story.
Yeah, GTA Online is set before the actual story of GTA 5. So maybe they have it so that the Red Dead Online is going to be later than the Red Dead story, so that they actually have old cars in the game. But then you would probably have a bit of issues with people openly walking around with firearms and like playing sheriff. And you can't really have it in a mix where you have cars but then also old-timey western stuff.
Yeah, I
The
don't
horses and
personally
cars
think they
can't
would
work.
do it because there's not the infrastructure for it in the game. They'd have to change the whole map
Yeah,
as
exactly.
well. And also, Double Bubble in the chat makes an interesting point about the map being huge. It's not actually that big. It's surprisingly, you can get across it quite quickly. I don't think it's as big as First Fort.
15 minutes to get across it on a horse.
Yeah, it's
Apparently.
it's not as big as First Fort. I don't think.
Horse tattooing, colour dyeing, and lift kit on them. Why don't you just make it a rainbow horse like an LGBT one? Because I think that'll be
Flying
a
horses.
thing.
Necropop's
Flying horse.
Necropop's suggestion is great. RGB LED horse tag or Double Bubbles neon horse underglow.
Chrome horses.
Chrome horses with spoilers that are larger than the horse itself.
That's great. Yeah, the map in GTA V is also not that big. Tiny in it. I mean, it's big, but it's
If you
in
scale
GTA
it
5,
up,
you've got planes and everything else, so
Yeah.
you can get across it faster than you would in Red Dead. That's why it feels so big, I'm guessing.
if you would say that I would like to have a game really like San Andreas where the map is absolutely gigantic. You can still get across it easily and everything's like scaled down, but imagine GTA San Andreas at the scale of GTA 5.
That'd be insane.
That would be like huge. And I mean, right now, Los Santos feels gigantic with Blaine County attached. Imagine right now, you have like a third of what you would actually have in San Andreas. That's a third of the map. You also have Las Venturas and San Fierro still missing. And I wish they would have had something like a single player DLC where they actually made that, so you can have another fucking like $30 or whatever currency to have those 2 extra parts of the map with new story missions and stuff like that.
I'd expect a 3 million Pegasus horse with 2 twin miniguns and 50 homing rockets.
In infinite homing rockets, please. If you're already, oh no, you'd have to upgrade that. An orbital horse cannon.
There's so much memes about this.
Yeah, it's the orbital cannon is like a meme in itself. It costs a lot, and it you can kill like 1 person, and that's about it for every 48 minutes, I think.
So without spoiling it.
Cars in sorry, Jamie. I was reading the chat. Cars in theory, yeah, they could work.
Yeah.
What would happen with horses? Like cars, why would they want the horses?
Well, you could have a mix with carriages and cars.
Quickly searched up when the first car was invented. It was 1886, so in theory it could, but it'd be few and far between.
So when was the game released?
A couple of months ago. When was it set? Is it not like 90s?
1899. 1899 is apparently.
Yeah.
So in theory.
In theory, it could, but then the map's not built to cater to cars at all. So,
yeah.
I think it's unlikely, to be fair.
Well,
but
back
you never
then,
know.
roads
You never
weren't.
know. You never know in this crazy world of video games
Math
what's
expansion
possible.
confirmed.
Well, roads weren't all, Andy, like roads weren't made for cars back then as well. That came after cars. To have
Just googled Red Dead Redemption 2 cars in online. One of the first videos that came up was Mr. Boss.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, there's a surprise because Rockstar haven't actually confirmed anything, so it's just all
Just been
conjecture.
rumours.
Yeah, that's right.
and
They've released some sort of post, haven't they?
They did an interview with one of the leading game websites, and they said that it'll be like an evolution of GTA Online. That's about as far as they've gone. They've said that it'll be very like role-playing based.
I'm down for that.
I like that. If you have like different quests and you don't like have a new lobby for a certain mission, but you basically just go on quests and you encounter other players, and that is
It won't be
a
as
good
trolly.
idea.
Because there's a bounty system now, isn't there? System in online.
Yeah, I've heard that in online, if you kill someone, you get a bounty attached to yourself.
People can kill you for the bounty. But if it's like GTA, the bounties go up to like 9 grand, which is literally nothing.
And in Red Dead, if they go to 9 grand, you'd be a rich man.
Yeah, maybe they'll keep the numbers the same.
They just keep it the same, and it's just like every time you kill someone, it goes like up 1 grand, and it's just like, oh, hell yeah, money grinding by
That's
just
like Dan got
killing
down
each
to
other.
500. He had to pay it off as well. But cars in 1890s, just really the point of having it set, yeah. Just need to do. I'm struggling to see where all the content can come from because it's in the 1890s. There's nothing. It's simple life.
You could have bounty hunts, like planned hits on different criminals. You could have, oh, can you find my ranch? I forgot where it actually is because I'm so fucking drunk.
I have a red hammer.
It's like I don't know where they could of course they could.
There is plenty of opportunities, just different stuff from GTA.
Yeah, for example, if you have like plantations where you make tobacco and cotton and shit like that,
No weed.
you could, and of course weed. You could of course make like a business out of that and have players controlling it, and then steal like herbs or some stuff like that. I don't know actually how you run a plantation. I'm sorry. So
Jamie will know.
Well, there is actually some plantations already actually in the storyline, so they could utilize that kind of thing. There's a storyline where you have to burn down a tobacco plantation.
Yeah, so you
big house.
So you take that and you basically turn it into a business.
Yeah.
Don't know after really, are they?
You could transport the products to different stores around the map, or you could own stores yourself, or I think there's various opportunities, but it's just different things to what people might be expecting.
Yeah, and they won't disappoint because it's Rockstar.
Not
They're
like
good developers.
Not like they're disappointed with GTA Online.
Started off well. You play it.
It won't disappoint in the way of content, but it will disappoint in the way of the fact that you've got to either plow a massive amount of time into it or pay for microtransactions.
Or you have to wait a ton of time before you can actually cash out.
Slavery might be a good business. I mean, in them times.
Yeah, of course, and then you'll get like all these different movements of X life matters into the whole business in Rockstar. I don't think Rockstar wants that.
Human trafficking DLC.
Oh, hell
Not
yeah.
end well, would it?
No, slavery was abolished about 30 years before the game was set, so.
Oh, what a shame. Sorry, Rockstar.
But you know, same with GTA 5's online mode. You could make it that it is not abolished because it's before the actual story happens.
Yeah.
So Rockstar have every single path still open because it's not out yet, is it? Or there's no beta for it, right?
It's still down as
It's
coming
scheduled.
out in late November, but no date has been announced. I'm possibly expecting there to be a delay because.
Oh, there has been a delay. I think it's next year,
That happened last year.
like January.
They've said it will be out. If they were going to delay it, they probably would have done it by now, I'm guessing. So, I don't know.
So, without spoiling the story, how would you sum up how the story is and how the characters are,
Character
how
development.
they're built up, their development? Yeah.
Yeah, the character development is insane. Was telling me that because I was telling Andy that like Dutch is just such a dick. Like I liked him at the start, but then he becomes just horrible. And then Andy was telling me that in the second one, and it's like his descent into insanity, which is
Yeah, in Red Dead Redemption,
yeah,
Red Dead Redemption 1, the second Red Dead game, it gets a bit confusing the way they've named them.
yeah, it's annoying. But the fact that they've done that and linked it so well is really good.
It is excellent because it's not that obvious that people who haven't played the first Red Dead Redemption would notice, but you know, people who have, it just gives you that extra level of depth.
Yeah, it's just a game. I'd recommend anyone to play it.
Unless you don't have a console that can run it.
Yeah,
Feels bad,
rest in
man.
peace.
PC Master Race.
I mean, I'm gonna wait until the online comes out before I give my final. Because I've seen a lot. I haven't actually played it, but I've seen enough so I can kind of say what my opinion would be. I haven't played it, and I'm just gonna wait for the online to release and for those things to get out, because that would be quite nice to have like a full-on look at it before I play it myself, or I'm able to play myself.
I think you'll like it.
Hopefully.
I mean, not releasing it on PC because they have the means to do it, but now people are going to buy it on console. On PC, and they go, "Oh, hey, it's on PC now," and people are always going to buy it on PC to see how it looks and how it runs.
Yeah, they did that with GTA. I think it's that rate.
Yeah, as soon as it died down, the sales died down, everyone was like, oh, okay, this is old now. And then PC was like, boom, and they're like, oh, damn.
And then there's Fallout 76.
Yeah, that came out recently, going swimmingly to our next topic, which is the absolute dumpster fire that Fallout 76 was. At least the beta of it. And I can't say anything myself because it wouldn't run on my computer, so I'm sorry.
I should have a quick look at the reviews.
So it's
got 3.7 on Metacritic.
I also can't say anything about it because I haven't played it, and the majority of what I've read about it has been less than positive.
I've tried to launch it on so many occasions and it did not work. Then again,
it's not even a big, nice-looking game. It's Fallout.
it's Fallout 4 with the graphics turned to low and the online turned to maybe. So you basically have a Fallout game that came out, which came out as a beta, which, as I've said, didn't run, and I didn't want to
Yeah,
spend
and
money on it because
the
if it
engine
doesn't
doesn't
run
cater.
there,
The engine doesn't cater to the multiplayer. I think, to quote Eurogamer, it's a multiplayer game that's more fun to play on your own. I think that says quite a lot.
yeah,
The
it's
thing is,
There's not much to make it multiplayer. They needed features. It's basically Fallout 4 with multiplayer.
without
It's
NPCs.
designed as without NPCs. It's designed as a single player game. Fallout single player. They've not done enough to make it.
yeah,
What they've
it's
done is they've ripped the core values of the Fallout game.
yeah,
They've ripped a
they've
lot of that out,
taken
and now it's basically like an arc, but with a better name on it. It's like buying a counterfeit top, right? It's not got the badge on it, but you could pay the proper price for a proper one it does the exact same thing. It looks exactly the same, but because it's got the badge on, it's different. I feel like that's what Fallout is now. It's like
yeah, it's
a better arc, but it's not much better.
Fallout 76 is basically you take Fallout 3, pretty up the graphics, put it on the Fallout 4 engine, cut out everything that made Fallout 4 an actual Fallout game, except for where the name comes from, the nuclear Fallout. So
All the
now you
textures.
have a game that you can't modify because it's online. So you can't have like texture mods to make it pretty. You can't have quest mods to make it more interesting or give it more value. You have a lockdown engine which they actually had to lock to 60 hertz or 60 FPS because people were like cheesing the game by making like duplicating items because the game was running too fast because it's apparently frame rate bound for some reason. And now they
Yeah,
locked
that
it
bug.
down to they
If
locked it
increase your
down to
frame
60.
rate, increase your speed. Like what?
Yeah,
That was in Fallout 4.
yeah.
How have they not fixed this?
They've done nothing. They've done absolutely nothing, and they just try to like attach an internet cable to like how do I plug this into my game? I don't understand it. This doesn't work. I'm just gonna they just fucking taped an Ethernet cable onto a game and thought that yeah this is probably gonna run maybe, potentially I don't actually know, and then they turned down the graphics to there's that funny thing about every game having like a ginormous amount of sliders, especially Fallout 4 with the character creation. They turned the slider to barely looks like it when it plays on an Xbox 360 and turned up the internet on the game. That's what it feels like. You just have a Fallout game without the value of being a Fallout game, because they've always made their Fallout games to be single player experiences where you sit down, strap in, you have fuck tons of items, guns, different effects, different clothing, and now you just sit there and you're asking yourself, okay, what do I do? I've watched stuff about it because I couldn't run inside it. Of course I was curious, and it looks like a Fallout game that had the Fallout ripped out of it.
15 FPS according to Kiki. 30 FPS
On
max,
an-
but mostly 15.
on an
That's bad.
Also said,
holy
what was it? Everyone wanted to co-op Fallout, but not an MMO. Co-op Fallout would be amazing.
yeah, it would be fun. I think
But
there's
most people
actually a co-op mod for Fallout that I
Huh?
I think there is for Fallout 3, but I think it barely works. It's like the co-op mod for Skyrim that got shut down apparently.
I think this game, Fallout 76, is just a case of a good idea because people have been wanting co-op Fallout game for ages.
Yeah, but the
Good
execution
idea,
is
but
wrong.
poor execution, very poor
Yeah.
execution, because
Very
it's
poor.
not even. It's not even a.
It's the
a
wrong
lot of it's just
direction.
it's turned into a multiplayer where it's like a survival game, and it's not really what Fallout fans are wanting. I don't think they've quite hit the sweet spot of what they're looking for,
They
and it's
probably
going to backfire.
what I think honestly is they wanted to have Fallout 76 as Far Cry 5. That's what a lot of people wanted, because in Far Cry 5 you have your game and then you can just invite people and they join your game. They have their own set of kit that is saved on your save. You can go on alone in your save. You can invite people in. You can invite new people, and it's proper co-op. There is nothing about about Far Cry 5 that screams, "Oh, we've done. Oh, damn, we've done this wrong. I'm sorry."
I think that
Because-
Far Cry 5 was an example of. I think that was a very good game, and then the co-op was how it should be in a
Yeah,
heavily
Yeah.
based
Far
story
Cry
game.
5 was excellent.
I think I caught up with you a few times, Andy, didn't I?
I can't remember offhand.
I know co-ops with 3 people, and it was co-op. It was
Yeah.
the same game, but with another person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
Which is
a
what co-op
knockoff.
should be.
It's
yeah.
not knockoff co-op where you have your own. For example, Far Cry 3, I think, had a co-op mode, which was poorly executed. Because you had like your own 6-mission storyline. And here you have full-fledged game. Both have their own copy. You don't have any peer-to-peer shit. You just have one person connects to the other game. You have synchronization that works perfectly in most cases, unless you play just wants to go offline for a second. You have proper working co-op. Mission stuff gets tracked. You can actually, on the other person's save, on the main game where the other person joins, all the achievements that the co-op person gets are saved on your save. So every time they come back, they have the exact same kit and everything. You don't have to overdo it, because the only thing that you're really synchronizing it is what that person is holding on your screen.
Yeah.
And if you would have taken Fallout 4, improved the engine a little bit, have it run in that kind of mode where you can play it alone, but you can have just people randomly joining you, or you like saying, yes, I want that person to join, that would have been really fucking cool. Because
and I think that's the root of a lot of the problems with 76 is the engine, because Bethesda are just using such an old engine now. You know, they keep rehashing the same engine. I think they need a completely new build for,
yeah, but
It doesn't work, does it?
No.
Not for online.
it's
So much bugs.
Yeah, as I've said, it's basically a game where you tape an Ethernet cable to it. The Ethernet cable isn't plugged in, like it's not implemented the right way. It's just kind of just tacked on there. And as you can see from the people that are actually playing it, or able to play it, or were able to play it during the beta, it's got a fair share of little problems. Or major problems.
Them things about the Super Edition. I think it was like something like £100, and you got like a bag and a mask and some other things. I can't remember like what it was, but the bag was like advertised as this good quality fabric that you could use for like shopping or whatever. Flimsy plastic that like it's gonna break. Pay £100 for that when the game's broken already, which is probably cost like £2 for a kid in a sweatshop to make.
And then I've heard that the mask is of terrible quality.
So lots
Probably
of refunds.
shite, really. He's just
Yeah,
a little shite, like a little goodie bag.
Yeah, the mask is, I believe it looks the part, but it's very light. You know, it's made very cheaply.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it could be like a plus for cosplayers, for example, that want to have like they want to do power armor, but they can't be asked making all the detail on the mask. If number one, why are you even calling yourself a cosplayer? Because most people that cosplay make their own stuff. They have like really good arts and craft skills to make their own costumes to be proud about. And
Yeah, it's nothing to be proud about.
there,
Well,
that
that's-
is holy fuck.
Mm.
That mask is just no. It's a big no.
for the game on Metacritic. I can't even say it. Metacritic.
Critic.
Metaphoric cricket. We'll go with that.
Metacritic.
Some
Metacritic.
cricket, dude.
Metacritic.
There is a review for 10. 10 and 1 and 3 zeros. Worst game ever, totally wasted me for pre-order. Long as hell, buggy and tragic ending. Don't lie.
You three hands of the chat. So, do you think that the critics have been too harsh on Fallout 76,
They've
or do you
been
think
really
that they've
bad.
nailed it on the spot, really?
Yeah. Someone saying it was a good game, it had just been bombed with bad reviews. But
Yeah, I mean, bombing something with bad reviews doesn't. If there's like a ton of bad reviews, then there could be review bombing, but there are legit reviews in some of these where there's not just a rating, but also like a write up of all the issues.
I don't believe in the bombing the bad reviews because there was so much hype from the Fallout community over this. It's not like they were saying, "Oh, it's going to be rubbish. It's going to be da." I know someone who's played all the Fallout games, right? And they were really, really hyped for it. But I think it's just negligence.
That's the problem that a lot of people go into when they make a game. They have like a lot of hype, they build it up, and then they crash and burn until they put out a 20 gigabyte patch 2 months later so that it's actually playable. No Man's Sky is a notable example of this, where you have a game that is like hyped to absolute garbage to just like, oh my god, this is so great, I love it.
The best game of the year before it even came out.
It's gonna be the game of the year. It's going to be fucking Star Citizen with like lesser graphics, and you're like, oh hell yeah, I'm fucking pumped for this. And then people see it and there's like, what? I kind of wanna find that one video where it's like, so the dude with the beard, I forget his name.
The dude with the beard.
Yeah,
Boogie.
No, not the one of Hello Studios.
I'm trying to find his name. No one knows it.
Anyways, that dude is like, he was like, there's a cut together of him saying like, oh, this is going to be the best game ever, and then you have the what is it called, the Jurassic Park theme in the background, like the really shitty played one on a flute, just like played in the background over like all of the bugs, like animals like walking on their face and walking upside down and attacking you even though they're below the floor.
It's a mess.
It's not a fun experience. It's really weird.
It's not even like the proper values of Fallout, is it? no NPCs.
Yeah, which in No
Where you
Man's
get your
Sky didn't
stories on,
exist.
that's where the immersion comes from, because the map is nice, the graphics are okay, but the immersion from the NPCs is good, and you get to and sort of understand the story. When you're just getting in this, you're just getting holotapes. You read it, you do something, get and kill the people, and go back. It's the same thing every time.
Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it's for me. It's kind of this. In Fallout 4, for example, I played it on a friend's computer, and he's got his Fallout 4 loaded with mods, absolutely smacked with
Legend.
with stuff, and he went into the game with all these mods first time, and when it crashed for once, and he was like asking me why it was crashing, his computer was blue screening when he was playing the game. I came over and I launched the wrong executable, or the wrong shortcut, where you launch the game without anything added to it. And he was like, what the hell happened to my game? It looks fucking terrible. It looks absolutely disgusting. What are these textures? Because he's got like pretty nice computer, and he's running like 4 or 8K texture mods on everything. The
It's
whole
not even a thing on Fallout
environment.
76 anymore because they've not got mods because it's all online. So
Yeah.
they can't even rely on the community to fix it because
Yeah,
there isn't one anymore either.
you can't make a complete overhaul on something that's supposed to be online, and if it's not playable in any other form, like offline, how are you gonna fix it? How are you gonna make it work?
Yeah.
So that people can
Difficult.
add their own NPCs in. They can add their own DLC even, where you get transported to different location on a completely different map. How you can't do that?
It's part of the charm of Fallout. Like
Yeah,
the
where
mods on console as well. Like the community is so good within the mods, and
Yeah. It's worth pointing out actually before we move on that collector's edition of Fallout 76 actually retailed for £175.
£175
Yes.
what
probably costs a tenner.
in
to make.
production? Yeah. Same with the game.
Ridiculous.
So people who purchase that are obviously very disappointed.
I mean, spending you have to actually receive it to be able to tell what it's like. Because at least if you just pre-order the game, you can play the beta. Oh, I don't like it. I'll get a refund.
Yeah.
Objects. They can't get a refund unless they send it back because they've got the objects and they're just trash. So they have to go through the effort of getting like a return thing, stamp thing, send it back because they lied. Bethesda lied.
Yeah.
That they did, yeah.
Yes. So Fallout 76.
Anyways.
Is anyone going to get it?
Okay, what are you guys saying? No, I know do this. Right, so would you say it's time to move on?
Yeah.
Do you think we've covered everything that...
I think we have
Or in chat
beaten
that
the
wants to say
dead
anything about it?
horse.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think.
Yes. Got any questions that you would like us to exert
Go
our
off, Rema, hold your
opinions on?
peace.
People, please be nice.
Don't hurt me.
Something to elaborate on.
Jimmy, why are you such a cunt?
Hate you all. I'm off to watch Raggedy Dan.
Jimmy, you bullied me. Stop putting your political opinions on me.
That's a question that I can agree with. Don't buy Fallout 76.
What question?
Good question.
Oh, try on Xbox. I had mods which did shit like allow me to use that mech suit from Pacific Rim as power armor. I listened to the Guardians of the Galaxy chat. Yeah, that's Fallout. It's so fun. anymore.
Oh, that's a
Why do all
great
Scottish people
question. Well,
sit back?
I need to be careful where I word this. I was about to say something, but
Why
I'll
do,
probably take
why
my
do
time
all
for it.
Scottish people sound the same?
Because believe it or not, we're off of the same country.
No.
And we all have deep voices,
Okay,
and all our ancestors are alcoholics. It's like you just ask the Russians why are they in the same. Like, I get
Russians
the vodka
That'd be brutal.
from
Try
Mother
s-
Russia.
So-
Suka blet.
It's like asking why do all Russian people speak Russian? Like shaking my head.
SMH.
No, that's not funny.
Triangulus. What is your question?
Prepare.
Prepare for a paragraph.
So while we wait on Triangulus, let's
Move on to the next
briefly
topic.
discuss. Yes.
I know nothing about.
So
The next topic is probably one that is going to be discussed heavily between
Try start
me
question.
and. Okay. Let's have that
Had to
closing up.
choose one game of all the ones you played to be stuck with till the end of time. What would you choose? Andy, go.
Russian roulette.
Me? I think I would probably choose Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yes.
That is a good pick.
Amy? Why though? Why San Andreas?
Because it was what I'd call the last GTA game of that type before
Yeah.
it moved. Yeah.
That was a good game.
That
I
was a
mean, I
good
think
game,
I
yeah.
think Red Dead 2 could very well take that position, but I haven't finished it yet, so I'm going to reserve judgment.
And
Your
online has not come out yet, so you can't really give a full opinion on that.
Yeah.
You also got the nostalgia of San Andreas as well, don't you?
Yeah. I
'Cause
mean,
it's such a good
it looks crap now if you play it, to be fair. I mean, it doesn't hold up well graphic-wise.
Just put a ton of extremely over the top reflection shaders on it and get your eyes burned out by the sun, which you turned up to 7 million reflections a second. Just put it
try
down.
it. I think it would be Metal Gear Solid, maybe. Jamie, what would you pick?
what would I pick to go for all time? Oh, Rainbow Six Siege.
Of course, why did I even ask?
Probably because it's ever evolving, really. I know it's
And yeah,
Ubisoft,
keep it
and
up to
yes,
date.
Ubisoft, but Ubisoft have said that they might be able to keep that game going for 10 years. You know how mental that is for an online game?
Especially
CSGO.
Ubisoft game.
It's not the same as CSGO. This is much more intricate, much more detailed, much more flexible. Because there's so much you can do on Siege. Because most of the map's destructible. And there's different operators who do separate things, different guns,
The meme
etc.,
tracks as
etc.,
well, don't
etc. So, I think that's probably what I'd do.
you? Yeah.
What about
I mean, I
you,
played it.
Joe?
I used to love the game.
Yeah.
I've completed Red Dead 2, and
Mhm.
the story is phenomenal. Like some point soon, because I don't think I spent enough time on it.
Mhm.
Really, I don't know, 'cause I probably get bored of it because it's a single player game and it's not much to do. Well, there is lots to do actually. That's my answer.
Yeah, I get you.
For me, I can't really name you one game. I can only name you a franchise.
Name one.
Or actually a game mode in any of those games, which is the zombie modes
Adversary mode
of...
on GTA Online.
Oh, it's the zombie mode of Treyarch Call of Duty games. In Black Ops 1 to 2 to 3, and now, well, 4 is kind of, I haven't played that, but 1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3, the zombie mode is just great. I love it, and I've been playing that for so long now, and getting high ass rounds for sessions that go on 6 to 8 hours in Black Ops 1, getting really high rounds in Kino der Toten, etc. It's just, I would probably pick any of the zombie modes of those 3 games. Preferably 1 and 3, because they have Kino der Toten. But yeah, I would go for a zombie mode. I'd say
Right.
Black Ops 3. Yeah, Black Ops 3 Zombies.
Shuki agreed it is beautiful.
You're very quiet.
Oh,
So-
my mic's killed itself again.
Rip. Right.
Attack.
So moving on, new Pokemon game. So I believe
Exactly, this is probably going to be a topic that is heavily discussed between me and Andy, which is the new two
probably more by
Pokemon
you.
games. Which is the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee,
Yeah.
a remake of Pokemon Yellow
Yes.
with the basically the exact same layout, just new graphics, a new form of catching Pokemon, which is kind of strange.
It's motion controls.
Motion
Yeah.
controlled catching if you have it in handheld mode as well as in docked with a Joy-Con. It does not support the Pro controller, which has motion controls, but of course.
Yeah, I think they want people to buy the Pokeball Plus.
Yeah, of course, because it's got a button and an analog stick, and it costs as much as.
Yeah, and they've also locked one of the most popular Pokemon, Mewtwo. You can only get that by purchasing the Pokeball Plus.
You can only get Mew, not Mewtwo.
Mew, sorry. Mew.
So you're basically stuck with an incomplete Pokédex unless you buy yourself a $60 to $70 to $80, euro, pound, whichever.
It's 40.
Actually,
It's
it's pretty-
40.
Is it £40?
Yes, it is.
Because
yeah.
it's
So you can't like progress in the game if you don't buy this.
No, you can progress in the
can.
game, but you can't get that particular Pokemon.
Stupid. I mean, I guess it's an exclusive to buy anything, but
yeah, it basically, if you
expensive.
if you really want to have a complete Pokédex, you kind of have to buy it. And it's like, oh, this Pokemon is included in every single one of these Pokeballs. So basically, if you pair a Pokeball, a new one, I don't know how it's actually handled. If you can just take a friend's Pokeball Plus and then pair it to your Switch to actually
it's one
get
time.
it.
No,
Oh,
it's
single.
one time only. Yeah, you can't do that. Once you've unloaded it into your game once, it's left the Pokeball. You can't borrow a friend's.
That's funny. Yeah, and as the titles of the games might imply, you pick your starting Pokemon with your money, either Eevee or Pikachu. I went for Eevee because I think Pikachu is kind of just overused everywhere.
I went for Pikachu because it's my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, it's each their own. I think Eevee just gives me that option of I can go to any evolution that I really need. For example, right now I'm looking at Vaporeon because I don't have a water Pokemon. It's just this whole thing about the catching really annoys me because it looks like Pokemon Go and it works 20% of the time how you want it. In handheld mode, in handheld mode, it's like oh look, this is augmented reality without actual cameras. It's just motion controlled dumb shit. That's just like, oh yeah, I'm aiming there, and then the motion controls slightly try to center themselves again. Or my favorite, if you have it in docked mode, you use a single Joy-Con with the motion controls. which isn't very fun because sometimes the Pokemon tend to move around, and if you have to bat your Joy-Con in a certain direction to get the Pokeball there, and it's really hard because you don't have a clear indication of where to really throw it. So you're
And,
wasting your Pokeballs just throwing a ton of them like somewhere trying to get it.
Yeah, and you've got the levels of Pokemon as well. You've got different types of Pokeballs. So you've got the standard ones, and then you've got the mid-range ones, and then you've got a high-range one.
It's like
Yeah.
Like
traditional.
for bigger Pokemon, you'll have to use like what they call the Great Ball, you know.
Or a Hyper Ball, because I've gotten 5 of those, funnily enough. Another thing that really ticked me off when I started going into it was the inability of fighting wild Pokemon. The only thing you can do right now is catch them. You can't fight a Pokemon because reasons. I don't know. The only way to get XP outside of fights is actually to just catch them, or like fuck up enough time so they leave, which doesn't give you any XP. The other thing that is really weird right now is you don't only level up your starter or the one Pokemon that was in battle, or the multiple Pokemon that were in battle. Your EXP now get shared across every Pokemon, so you can level up your team without actually having them active.
You can have six in your team, whatever it's called. Yeah.
In your party.
Yeah, in your party.
And those Pokemon are basically the ones I only use 2 Pokemon out of my whole party. The other ones are just there with numbers, and my Eevee is at level 32, I think, and all the other Pokemon are at like level 27 or level 22 or something, because they all get EXP. I never use them.
Yeah.
They just level up automatically. It basically plays itself like the old games. There's maybe like 1 or 2 additional types of trainers, like the coaches that you can encounter, which are optional fights. They are pretty tough, but you can still beat them pretty easily, because sometimes I miss them and then I go back to them and they're like, oh, your Pokemon is level 16. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
And now to go up on a few positives, going off the negative hating train. If you've gotten this game and you've played a few minutes into it, you get to meet your partner Pokemon or your companion Pokemon, and they are absolutely adorable.
They are, yes.
You can interact with them, you can pet them, you can feed them berries that you found, and in Eevee's case, it rides on your head, and in Pikachu's case, it sits on your shoulder.
Yeah. And you can dress them up in matching outfits.
Like, which
adorable.
these tiny like jackets and hats and glasses, they look absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
I think Geeky wants us to mention Detective Pikachu. It's going to be.
I have no idea about. I have like no info about that, so you would probably have to inform me.
Well, from what I've seen,
why don't you tweet us an article? Our Twitter is in the description. Wink, wink. Follow.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it's a Pokemon movie, but difference that it's Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu.
Oh my
And it's more of an actual
Yeah, it's like
back from
it's a live action CGI mix, isn't it?
yeah.
There's been quite a lot of controversy about the appearance of the Pokemon.
Be
But
good.
I haven't heard anything particular about it, but I will check it out when it comes out.
I'll definitely watch it.
I'll probably give it a watch, depending on if I have time for
Okay, so
such things. So
Never mind.
as I was saying about the game, and I think Andy said with the matching outfits, you can also get special outfits. For example, I went to the Mr. Pokemon's house to get an Eevee outfit, which basically just gives you backpack, hat, jacket, and pants and shoes that have a similar coloring to Eevee. I can recommend, Andy, that you get yourself a Pikachu one because I've seen it and it looks cute.
Yes, I certainly will when I get to that point.
And from another positive thing, which some people will probably think is like kind of weird, you can now see Pokemon that are running around, so you can easily avoid them, like wild Pokemon. Sometimes they spawn right inside of you and you don't even see who's gonna...
Side of you.
Yeah, they spawn right on top of your person and you can't even see what you're encountering until you're in the encounter.
Does it automatically like pull you into like a fight or whatever, or
into a catching scenario without actually seeing what you're trying to catch. And then when it appears, of course you know what it is. But sometimes a fucking Rattata, for example, it's just like, oh yeah, I walk through a field filled with different Pokemon, avoid every single one, and then there spawns someone right on top of me. So that's slightly annoying, but it's cool that you can actually see what you're trying to catch, and so you can go right for example, Meowth is one of the Pokemon that I had to catch 5 of, and it was pretty easy because you can legitimately just see them walking around. So you just run into them, catch them, and go on, wait for another one to spawn. So for those kinds of things, it's really quite easy.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out also that you can send unwanted Pokemon
to the Professor
Oak, and you get candy in return that can be fed to your Pokemon to give them certain...
You can basically kit out a Pokemon with enough... It's basically candy that has steroids in them, so you can just increase their health to the maximum that it goes. You can incredibly push your Pokemon onto like extreme levels of just attack, defense, and all the other stats when they're at quite a low level, so that you can get on with gym fights a lot easier, which has helped me personally. It was quite a nice touch. But then again, I haven't gone very far into it. I'm currently at 3rd gym, so I can't really give... What?
Gyms is there? Like 6?
There's 8.
Additional? 8. Yeah.
Traditionally, there were always 8. Then you had the Victory Road, and then the Indigo Plateau, and the top 4. And throughout my gameplay today, I've actually met one of the top 4. So you meet a lot of people and a lot of different trainers. You can talk to everyone as per usual. It's just one more random player.
Yeah. I think as we play more of it,
it'll probably go on to be open up a lot more, because right now it's a bit confined.
Yeah.
But I think that are like all
that
my
it?
thoughts right now about that.
Yeah,
Is that the game?
yeah. I think we should move on to this topic, which I believe Josh wants to talk to us about some music-related matters.
Yes. So, I not interest anyone at all, but I'll be quick. Don't worry. I don't want to bore anyone. Why am I typing S's? Yeah. So Eminem, bit of a controversial guy these days. People hate him. I've seen a lot of hate on him recently, and see why people like well not hate him, just sort of had enough of like his
Frowned upon.
yeah, because people say, oh, he's not the underground guy anymore. He's washed up. He's a sellout. It's like
I think the thing with that is that he's got a reputation. Right, beforehand he didn't, and
that's true.
especially like if he was out to prove himself. I'm not questioning his motivation, but you could see that because he's already made it, it's not as I need to make it, etc. But you could also say that it's about the culture as well, because we're not listening to rap as much as we were 10 years ago. Now it's this little shitty pop stuff. It's like Despacito.
Yeah, the
It's stuff
charts
like
are
that.
interesting one.
Yeah.
I don't know, because what do you think? Have you listened to Kamikaze, his new album?
I've listened to a few songs. I don't know them by name, but I've just flicked through them.
It's like I listened to it. I know it was like my favorite. Well, one of my top Eminem albums. I love it. I love his flow. Love it. He just like does not care, and he's just ripping into anyone he can. It's just
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much right. Just an album full of diss tracks, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. Because I liked quite a few of them. As you said, they've got nice flow. The lyrics are quite good in a couple of them. They are. It makes sense. It's not like you're just piling stuff on just so it sounds decent. It's like there's a
he
lot of deeper meaning, which
released.
I believe that you could also like always associate with Eminem. He's got that. He's always got a subject when he's rapping. He's always got that one thing that he talks about.
He
So,
knows what he wants.
yes,
Th-
yes.
What's the last album? Revival? They're all play the same, is it? I think it's Revival. That literally no one liked. So
I think it was.
hate for that because people didn't like his because it was like pop. He was in it with like Rihanna and like loads of other popular artists, and I like that. That was good. Like it was different, but very different to popular Eminem. But because of that, people were hating on him and the shit for changing his rap and whatever.
Jumping on the bandwagon.
He's Kamikaze. He just responded to them like relevant.
Slapped everyone about.
I'm still the rap god.
Uh-uh.
Then Eminem mentioned me to this. It's like, really? So the respond was MGK.
I've heard a lot about the Machine Gun Kelly situation, where it's like,
Yeah.
and I've heard Kill Shot a lot of times, just like going through it, trying to understand actually what he's saying, because some things are just pretty fast.
Yeah, I know.
And
Oops, sorry.
just going on about the whole thing, I was kind of like the thing that Machine Gun Kelly made was like he kept repeating himself a teensy bit, like you know, let's talk about it 7 times.
Yeah, that was. It was his chorus, but he was shooting low blows. Like the beat is weird. Oh, yelling at the mic. The insults that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take my dictionary and fucking go
You mean
toilet real quick, you know.
dictionary.
Yeah, and it's just Eminem made Kill Shot and just
That was beautiful.
took every single point Machine Gun Kelly made
Stamped on it.
and just replied by just like my favorite line was "You dress better, I rap better," which is so
Yeah.
fucking true. It's just you
Yeah,
have this whole thing that just fits perfectly. The only line that I really didn't like was, "What are you gonna do with a machine gun when it's out of ammo?"
I mean, that was kind of like a kiddie sort of thing, wasn't it? But
For me, it didn't. For me, it didn't flow right. It kind of felt out of, because if he had,
put up the words a bit, didn't he?
yeah, it didn't fit in right. Like the bullets, maybe he should have replaced like or swapped around the ammo with the bullets in the previous line. So when Rambo's out of ammo, what are you gonna do with a machine gun when it's out of bullets? It would have, in my mind, just went a bit better. Just from like a flow thing, but then again, I don't really rap professionally.
Oh, I wish I could.
Rap. God.
And also, you have to be smart to be a rapper. He's very crafty with his disses and
No.
his.
I have to disagree with you.
Really?
In terms of older rappers, yes. You do need to be smart because I don't like classing anyone as an older rapper.
He's
But
pushing
in
50.
terms of recent older individuals that keep cropping up now, he is probably on the older side. But as you just look at people like Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. That's not intelligent.
Yeah, you don't have to be intelligent for that.
That's
Again.
just an idiot just standing going Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. Or Dingos, just stupid stuff. Just
Yeah, right now it's more about making pop music that has rap in it instead of making rap
yeah.
to
Which is
pop
what-
music, which is
Even MGK, he does rap really well. He's a good rapper. He's an idiot, but he's a good rapper.
but like all those what did I think Eminem called them, mumble rappers,
Yeah.
where you just have like fucking like little Yachty, fucking Lil Pump, all these little people.
A little shopping trolley.
Only
Yeah,
Lil in my book is Lil Wayne. I love Lil Wayne.
I'm
yeah,
a little cock.
I mean, there's like so much just like fucking almost spam. It's like you're reading a spam email when you're listening to one of those songs, because it's, oh wait, the song before that sounded the exact same in the beat. It's just different lyrics that I can't understand because like how the like, are you having like some sort of like do you have some sort of issue that prevents you from speaking normally? Because I've seen people that interview that dude, or like, for example, 6ix9ine as well, or 6ix9ine. They're like, how the hell do you understand stuff like that?
Isn't it? New rap is.
It's like,
Yeah.
for example, I don't, what's that song called? I think it's called Gummo from 6ix9ine. If you listen to it, you're like, I don't understand half the shit he says. Of course, there's different like accents and stuff, but how are you gonna make something that where even the people on like Genius Lyrics have issues writing down what you just said?
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Of course,
Slow it down and figure it out because he's
Yeah.
mumbling so much.
Yeah, of course it's genius lyrics, and those people aren't really the most reliable, but excuse me, like, did you just say something offensive, or did you just tell people to, I don't know, fucking keep the planet healthy by not collecting waste?
Can't tell. That's why
Vegans.
Eminem, like, that's why people like Eminem and MGK is even MGK. He's a good rapper, but I said this.
My favorite rapper with the best flow that is right now is well, before it was Filthy Frank and now it's Joji. He's got some really like slowish music, and with his Filthy Frank and Pink Guy situation, that's like really fucking old, but just the rhymes and everything, it's so creative, even though it's the most offensive thing you will ever hear. It is really funny. You can understand every word. You know what he's talking about. Every single line. It's, for me, it's really funny because I can blast it. The beats are good because they're like professionally produced. And now that he's done with that, he makes music under his own name that he made for himself, which is Joji. And his music is like fucking, as soon as he drops an album, the hype for it is intense, and then the music, just when it drops, it's like charts every single time. His last album, I forgot what it was called, was just, I think it was a whole month in the charts of just Spotify, Apple Music, etc.
Just if you're gonna rap, do it properly. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Rap
like like have a clear thing that you want to talk about, and not just like fucking like say Gucci Gang 700 times in a song.
Eminem mentioned that, didn't he, in Kamikaze? He mentioned the Gucci Gang flow in one of his songs. I think it was "Lucky You."
Didn't he like remake Gucci Gang, but with actual like lyrics that made sense, or he just said words?
It's not a meme. It's not funny. It's not a
Gucci Gang
quote
something,
banging
something,
tune.
something.
End of quote.
It worked.
Yeah, it's he made a song where he just, like Eminem, where he took the entire beat of Gucci Gang, but actual put things on top of them that like made sense, words that you could actually understand without having to use like Google Translate through 7 different languages. It's pretty. It's a pretty good song. I mean, Eminem's always been the more like on the intelligent side with his lyrics.
That's what's important about his stuff, because when he disses people,
It hurts.
you know, like, it hurts because it's so like intricately put and fits so well with his flow and just the beat and everything. It just fits together. It's just like,
It's really good.
Beard.
It's really good.
That's all I really have to say on that.
So, should we move on to our
last topic? Yes.
The last extremely optional topic.
I'm sure just a small piece, maybe, and then I think.
Yeah, I think this is just gonna be like a finishing thing, and then we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah.
And it is a tech topic which I am with a few friends. I was talking about it even more, and we are just going wild on it. And it's the current situation in tech between AMD and Intel, which is probably gonna go over a few people's heads, but that is not the importance. It's more.
Explain it, like. Explain
Excuse me,
what's
but I
going
have
on.
a
Please.
Yeah, wait.
Explain it in the most simple terms possible.
I
You
have a lot of
take
intel, so I think I'm an intellectual, so I will understand it.
Intel means intellect.
Yes, that's what that means.
you
I'm
basically
positive
take
Stone Age when it comes to back
you
end of computers. So.
you take technology from 3 years ago, punch more processing stuff into it, more processing cores, make it run a little bit faster, and release it at a price that is 3 times or even 4 times of what your opposition puts out.
It's basically scamming folk.
Basically, the performance numbers are all fine. Like Intel is pushing out stuff that performs really well with major increases in just performance and minor increases in everything else. So you basically have a rehash of a rehash of a rehash that has been changed slightly just to be better. And then you have AMD who's like just shitting out new technology.
This is Flash's specialist subject, Dan.
Dan, if you don't like my voice, why do you come knocking every day? So basically it's just the competition between AMD and Intel has gone to a point where people are noticing that Intel is basically just doing the same thing, slightly different every year. And AMD's just gone for full-on improvements over the whole entire thing. Just improving every single thing.
What's happened is they've got a successful thing, nicked it, carbon copy, they boosted it, and then selling it for more.
Yeah.
Rather than making their own and figuring out ways to make it better instead of just boosting up certain things.
Exactly. You're rehashing something that has worked once, and then you're just like, if it works, don't change it. Just tweak it slightly and push it out again. And you have from different sources of benchmarks, which I have in just very professionally forgotten. You have a difference from 10 to 15% tuition between Intel. Intel's like €800 CPU or $600 roundabout there. And I don't know in pounds. I'm sorry. My friend of mine's said that it's like
million
it's about £700 or something.
Oh,
versus a CPU that's £300 in this case now. So you have like 10% to 15% difference on a product that's like legitimately half the price.
So basically, Intel is pumping out products
that are overpriced and
they're expensive, and they perform better than the AMD equivalent, but they're double the price. So
basically, I mean, over here in Austria, it's legitimately a fucking 9900K costs 800 and something euro on release, versus an already released 2700X, which is the comparison that most people make. Between those two, there's a price difference of about, what was it, 540 euro?
That's ridiculous.
Or 500 to 540. You know, price always fluctuates, but the last time I checked, 2700X was like 270, 280 euro.
So let's come back to the thing where you're paying for the brand almost.
Almost, yeah. It's ridiculous how much, like, you have 10-15% more performance, but you pay like 50 or like 100 to 150% more for the product, just because you want that nice Intel sticker that they provide, so you can stick it on your case and say, oh look, I have that.
By the way. people still think like not much people know about this sort of stuff. Like even if you're building a PC, like I built mine, I don't know much about this, but like people go, oh well, obviously I would get Intel because it's better.
Yeah,
Because I don't know really much about AMD, but then they're
because
wasting all the money on
AMD has
Intel
been
and get the same
known
performance.
for making absolute furnaces of graphics cards and CPUs that are just run hot, and they're by extension loud. You have a lot of heat that you have excess heat that you have to like vent somewhere else. In the graphics cards department, I will have to honestly say that Nvidia is beating AMD all
they're beating
over
everyone.
all over. It's just you have better performance, the same amount of heat output at better performance. You have less power draw, etc., etc. And on the CPU side, it used to be that Intel was just this go for this because this is like kind of lower quality, and now you're kind of torn between, do I want a brand that I've trusted, or do I want to go for the value option that is legitimately the same thing, just better?
Intel have just been the one. Like, it's just been Intel for so long.
Yeah, and
It
now
beat Intel
you're
fairly recently.
and now you, for example, the 8700K, there's not much difference between that CPU and the 2700X. There's just that the
The price.
2700X got, well, the 2700X is usually 100 whatever currency cheaper.
Whatever
So
currency.
yeah, I've looked at it, and in dollars, pound, and euro, which are the three main that I always look for. In those three, there's like between 90 and 110 euro difference, where the AMD version is cheaper. It's just right now, if you want to build a computer, it doesn't make sense. If you go for if you go for an Intel CPU, it just
let it there. Building a computer just doesn't make sense because that's what I was like building mine.
I mean, computer building, if you just look at one tutorial, it feels like a very, very expensive Lego.
Yeah, very expensive.
For
and if you
adult.
Up, you might die.
Yeah, if you fuck up, you might have a heart attack, or just be like, "Yep, that's the next mortgage on the house."
That's like when mine turned on, but didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the hoops that you have to go through. Some people they prefer pre-builds or laptops, because it's, if you have a problem, you have somewhere to go. If you
They come with warranties and stuff, don't they?
Yes, and if you have a self-built system, you are your own warranty, and every single part has to go through yourself. If you send it back or get a new one or have issues, it's just right now, price to performance, there is, I don't think, a lot of reason to go for Intel until
they might do some down the line, but
I might look into getting an AMD system with the next version, because straight upgrade right now is not possible. But it's just the stuff you get for the money you pay is better on AMD side right now.
In the war.
Just the CPU though. Graphics cards are still a gigantic no-no, even though the RX 590 has just come out, but it barely beats a 1060 anyways. It goes up
580 and it's
that's yeah, your graphics card is 1060 area, but the 1060 is just, it's got better performance and just less VRAM.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just each their own. But
I want to get a 1080 Ti, but they're expensive.
So overall, if you were going to sum it up, prompt in short, how would you?
I would say overall, get yourself right now on this current day where Intel hasn't shot out another CPU. Get yourself an AMD system and be happy with it, that you have a little bit less performance per single
more value for
core,
money. More value,
but you have more value for money because you can do like 17 things at once and just be like, yes, I'm fine. Whereas the Intel CPU, like, they've turned off hyperthreading for their i7, so the i7 line is basically a joke now. It's a gigantic meme. And
Geeky's got a
Yeah.
question for you.
Okay.
Geeky said he's thinking about building a PC himself. Any advice? I'd say do your research.
Number one, research. Number two, if you want a graphics card, you need to choose between having less performance but more heat, and more performance and at the same kind of heat. Of course, Nvidia cards are the same price as the AMD cards. If you get an RX 580, it costs the same as a 1060 6GB. There is no price difference. If you want something powerful that is like can play most titles at really high settings, get yourself a 1080 Ti if you have higher resolution. If you want something that runs a lot of things, get yourself an AMD CPU. If you want to like shamelessly waste money, get yourself an Intel CPU. 16GB of RAM are kind of the standard right now. You can go with 8, but you're gonna have problems.
Like mine goes over 8 so much. Just when I'm just playing a normal game, it'll be like, the load will be over 8. Definitely get 16.
Yeah, definitely get 16 gigs. For power supply, never cheap out on a power supply. If you plug in your everything and then turn on your computer and it starts smoking, have fun. You've just wasted like whatever you spend on your computer, because a faulty power supply or a low quality power supply can kill your whole computer. It's just flip the switch. I mean, my computer draws so much current that sometimes when I flip the power supply off and then on again, my fuses blow and I have to go to my storage room to turn all of them back on because they're like, oh shit, can't handle all this load. But a good power supply with some sort of overhead, you gotta like go through how much does this thing draw. Having 100 or 200 watts overhead is always nice. It's just get yourself something that works for your purpose. Don't get something that's like overbuilt to shit. Because
yeah, I think that's the best advice to.
I don't spend. Yeah, go. Sorry, Andy.
You know, look carefully at what your needs are and what to use it, then adjust accordingly.
Because what most people don't get is, and that's usually like console players, like, I'm sorry, I need a something that ends with 80. I need something that starts with i7. I need at least my hard drive capacity in RAM, and
first world problems.
I need something kind of just the most gigantic system ever. And then, oh yeah, I have to replace my graphics card every year. Get yourself, if you want good, like really good 1080p gaming, get yourself a 1080. If you want really good 1440p gaming, a 1080 Ti. And if you go above that into 1440p and 4K and on, there's the 20 series of graphics cards, which are expensive, but if you want 4K gaming, that's like 1080 Ti and 2080 and onwards. So it's kind of what
that's your advice, Kiki.
What you buy, it depends on what you want to play and etc. etc. There's no like, oh yeah, I want a system that runs everything.
Indeed, yeah. That's a large amount of advice given there.
Yeah, it's in depth, kind of.
Yes.
Just basically watch tutorials and you'll be fine.
I'm sure Geeky can always contact you if he needs further advice on that.
Exactly. I am available.
If you don't know where to contact us, go to our Twitter, which is linked in the description.
Yeah, and I believe this Geeky's in the Discord anyway, so he can always DM Flash. So
yes,
it's been a good one, hasn't it?
It has. Well, it's been enjoyable.
Thank you everyone for joined.
Yes, thanks to
Exactly.
everyone who dropped by, and to Raggedy
Dan.
Dan for the
Not raids, not raids.
the not raid. Yes.
It's a raid, I don't know
The
what that is.
exceptional not raid, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, the hashtag not raid. I think we should raid back because that's respectable. With all
Well,
those
next
details.
podcast probably won't be a live stream, but it will be here next
Yeah, it'll be it'll be
same
the
time.
podcast will be going up at 7 o'clock on Sundays, but it won't be live every week. Some will be pre-recorded.
Because I work weekends. Brilliant. Yeah, so
just how the timetables work. It's gonna either be pre-recorded or live. So
Yeah.
As been said.
Yeah, so thanks to all who joined, and we'll see you next time.
Exactly.
peace.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Au
Bye.
revoir, my
Bye.
brethren.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye.
Press the off button.
Have we gone yet? Turn it off, please.